double take down. No, they're having to do some lots of television show as well before the game, so.
Well, a warm welcome to the Big Fella Stadium here in Featherstone for what is a very, very special afternoon. It's a pre-season game between Featherstone Rovers and the York City Knights, but more importantly than that, Joe, it's Ian Hardmans' testimonial game, and what a great player Ian has been for Featherstone Rovers.
He certainly has. I tweeted this morning, Ian's been one of the most consistently good and loyal players of Featherstone Rovers' recent history, and when you look at his credentials, and for me, he's getting better season on season as well as he is maturing as a player, and he's become one of the most experienced players in this Featherstone Rovers squad and one of the leaders now.
Look at his credentials. I mean, over the career, he's played 324 games, 138 tries, and 8 goals as well that he scored in his St Helens time. And just looking at his Featherstone Rovers days, in 8 full seasons he's played for Featherstone Rovers, 230 games, 114 tries. And the most remarkable thing, is his consistency, because in all those seasons he has never played less than 27 games for Featherstone Rovers, and he's always got into double figures with his try scoring.
He has. He's been lucky to keep away from injuries. He's always there. I think he's probably most of the coaches that have been with him over those years since 2009 will say that he was their go-to player for being Mr. Dependable, and on the pitch as well as off the pitch. On the pitch he's played fullback, he's played various different positions, but you do know when he plays in that fullback role, that taking that ball, when the ball goes up into the air, that most of the time he will catch that ball, and you don't have your heart in your mouth as a fan, do you, when Ian's there?
No, and it's that fullback position that Ian will occupy today for Featherstone Rovers. In a strong Featherstone Rovers lineup, Ian Hardman, I'm sure, will lead the team out, and Ian plays at fullback. He's joined on the wings by James Duckworth and Scott Turner. Centres are Jason Walton and Luke Briscoe. Halfbacks, first time we've seen Kyle Briggs this season. He's joined by Matty Wildy at 7. Darryl Griffin, Sam Day, Luke Cooper at the front row. Frankie Mariano, John Davis the second row. Brad Tagg the loose forward. And the officials just making their way onto the field, and here come Featherstone Rovers now, and the York City Knights, of course. On the bench today for Featherstone Rovers, Keil Carlisle, Michael Knowles, Richard Moore, Kyron Johnson, James Kitchen, Andy Bostock, and Aaron Lyons. And Joe, that's a very strong Featherstone Rovers side.
It is. We were talking to Mark Campbell, weren't we, before the game about how strong the Featherstone Rovers squad is looking this year, and I'm very excited by some of the signings that John Sharp's made, but also some of the players that are returning from injury that had that bad luck last year to have a full season out, like Wildy and Scott Turner.
Well, Ian Hardman is lining up with his Featherstone Rovers team. They're, of course, wearing a special Ian Hardman testimonial jersey, the red jersey with the Ian Hardman badge on. And I think we are now going to pause to remember Terry Ramshaw of Featherstone Rovers. Great.
And in his time here included a memorable victory over the Australian Touring Party in 1963. Terry went on to play for Halifax, Bradford, Wakefield, Salford, Featherstone Rovers, Overton and finally on. The thoughts, prayers and feelings of all the Featherstone Rovers to finish our friends and family at this time. Could I ask you please to be upstanding and take part in the minutes of applause which will begin and end on the referee's list.
Well, a wonderful way to remember a great player for Featherstone Rovers, Terry Ramshaw. Well, the York City Knights, it's a delight to have them down at Featherstone Rovers today. Of course, the life of the club hung in the balance, but it's great to see them here, and they line up as follows. Ash Robson, big signing from Castleford, is at fullback. D. Foggin Johnston and Nev Morrison are the wingers. Tommy Brearley and Adam Swift are the centres. Danny Sowerby, of course, a former Featherstone Rovers junior, is at standoff with Harry Tyson-Williams at 7. Bobby Tyson-Williams, Pat Smith, Chris Siddons are the front row. Ed Smith, Joe Batchelor and Tim Spears. Doesn't it seem weird calling Tim Spears' name out for the opposition?
Certainly does, yeah. It's we're not used to it, are we? Another Tim Spears, another great Featherstone Rovers servant, a loyal player, and made that move to York City Knights in the off-season.
Well, I'll give you the substitutions as they happen, but it's Featherstone Rovers with ball in hand, and it's Darryl Griffin to play the ball on his own 40-metre line. Brad Tagg takes it forward. Tim Spears, that man involved in the tackle for the City Knights, and Bradley Tagg plays the ball on his 40. That's good work from Sam Day from the dummy half, and he was too quick for the York defenders, and first penalty goes to Featherstone Rovers.
Yeah, Sam Day there showing he's quick on his feet. When he came on the field last week, he caused a lot of trouble for the Hunslet defence, and he does have a lot of potential, does Sam.
So Featherstone Rovers start this set in good field position. It's setting phase of that penalty, and it is Sam Day who taps it, gets it onto Wildy, and then it's Darryl Griffin, sporting that closely shaven head this season, will play the ball, central field position, 20 metres out, comes to the left now through Wildy, onto Briggs, and then it's John Davis who takes the ball forward. He's tackled just 8 metres out. It goes back to the open side, and Bradley Tagg, he drives it towards the post. He's just a couple of metres short as he'll play the ball to Sam Day. He goes, sends it to the right, through the hands of Kyle Briggs, onto Wildy, and then it's Jason Walton, who it's a strong ball, and Jason Walton scores for Featherstone Rovers. It's taken just a minute and a half of this game in Ian Hardmans' testimonial game, and it's one of the new signings, Jason Walton, who crosses.
Yeah, that's a very early try for Featherstone Rovers. It was Wildy and Briggs combining together to send Jason Walton out wide, and he's such a big player, is Jason Walton. I think he's going to trouble quite a few sides out wide, isn't he, on the flanks this season in 2017. And we were talking before the game about Kyle Briggs as well. It's his first game back after injury. He's had a career dogged by injury, as Kyle Briggs, and John Sharp himself said he was struggling in pre-season training. So this is a run out for him. So it would have been good for his confidence as well to have a hand in that try.
Yeah, we watched it last week as well with Jason Walton and Frankie Mariano running the right channel. And, you know, with all due respect, we're not playing here against championship opposition. So you would expect them to cause defences a problem, but they're going to cause problems all season, aren't they, on the right edge, those two?
They are. They're just so powerful, aren't they? You wouldn't want to be meeting them. I certainly wouldn't anyway. You know, they're just such big players, big, powerful players. And I think Jason Walton was an inspirational late buy.
He certainly was. And you mentioned Kyle Briggs, and here he is with the yellow boots, striking the ball with his left peg, 5 metres in from the far touchline. And he's successful with that kick, and that is an added asset that Kyle Briggs brings to the team because he is such a good goal kicker for Featherstone Rovers, and those extra 2 points always important. 2 minutes gone. Featherstone Rovers 6, Hull City Knights 0.
York City Knights, yes.
York City.
Kyle, just to what you're mentioning there, Martin, about the conversion, and last week we did struggle with the goal kicking. Michael Mills did a little bit of a flapper in front of the post, and then Ian Hardmans took over, getting some of those goals that contributed to his stats, and then we had Kyron Johnson taking over after that, didn't we? So we did really struggle with the boot to ball for the conversions last week.
Featherstone Rovers bringing it away in the shape of Luke Cooper, sporting that headgear. He plays it to Sam Day. Tag. Along the line it goes to Griffin. He takes the tackle 25 metres from his own line. Rovers keep it coming left as Sam Day works it out to Ian Hardmans, the man, of course, whose testimonial game it is. That's his first touch of the ball, and he plays the ball just inside his own 40-metre line. Bit of a loose ball, but it's picked up by Matty Wilde here, and then somehow makes its way to Frankie Mariano, and the referee has said back to 1 because that came off a York City Knights hand. Here's scorer of that first try, Jason Walton. Spins out of a couple of tackles and then gets out of the 40-metre area for Featherstone Rovers. He'll play the ball 5 metres shy of the halfway line. This is Sam Day scooting from dummy half, makes a good 10 metres, and it's Hardman himself in at that dummy half position now. He looks to the right-hand side, finds Wildy, and then further on it goes. Tipped on from Walton, onto the Duckworth on the wing, who takes on Ash Robson, the York City Knights fullback, and he takes a tackle 15 metres away on that far side. Comes back to the centre of the field now with Luke Cooper, who drives it in towards the post. 5 metres away, he's put down. Day's the dummy half. Here's Briggs. That was a poor ball from Sam Day to Kyle Briggs, who had to stoop down low. Couldn't quite take it in, but good metres going up the field for Featherstone Rovers there.
Certainly is. They're going up towards that railway end, so up the slope. So it was good metres in that set of 6. That pass there from dummy half by Sam Day round Kyle Briggs's boot laces, and he just couldn't manage to take the ball in. So it is a scrum to York on their own 10-metre line, and York will be glad of a little bit of possession here, I think, Martin.
They certainly will. It's the first chance to see them with ball in hand, and it's Danny Sowerby, who came through the scholarship system at Featherstone Rovers, who's going to feed the scrum. He has 1 attempt, but the referee, who today is Mr. Race from Wakefield, he sees fit to reform the scrum, and the ball is out now and in play. It's York bringing it away from their own 10-metre line. Wild is first to the tackle for Featherstone Rovers. Then he's helped out, and Featherstone Rovers doing what they've been doing well in pre-season and putting the opposition player on his back to slow that play the ball down. This is the big frame of Bobby Tyson-Williams, who drives it forward, but he's made a mistake and he's lost the ball, and that's good defence from Featherstone Rovers, who'll get the ball back in great field position. That's
right, yeah. Harry Tyson-Williams, the ball came to him, and he wasn't expecting it from Bobby Tyson-Williams, just fumbled there, tried to make it look as though the ball had gone backwards, but the referee, Mr. Ray, said it was a knock-on, so Featherstone in a good position here on the York 20, just a few metres short of it with a scrum, and it comes out to Sam Day, who gets it out to Hardman, gets it to Walton, who again gets the ball away to James Duckworth, who's going to be in for a try. So that was great handling from the scrum there by Featherstone Rovers to further increase the lead.
Yeah, great work there, just straight from the scrum, down that right edge again that we talked about, and it was Walton doing all the damage. But let's not underestimate the work of James Duckworth there, because he was tight on the touchline side. Great footwork to keep himself in field and power around the last defender, and scored the try, and lessened the kicking angle a little bit as well for Kyle Briggs. And that try coming on 7 minutes, and already Featherstone Rovers opened up a 10-0 lead.
Yeah, there's some good moves coming in from the scrums. There was last week in the game against Hunslet, and that was Sam Day who got it to the testimonial man, Ian Hardman, who slipped the ball out quickly to Jason Walton, who had a couple of players round him as he got that ball out to James Duckworth. And as you say, James Duckworth, it wasn't an easy walking try for him. He still had to do the work and cut inside to go over the line. But again, he's a big player, is James as well.
Yeah, big things expected of James Duckworth. I've seen him a couple of years ago playing for Hunslet when he was on dual registration from Leeds, and we haven't seen the best of him yet in a Featherstone Rovers shirt, but I think we will this season. And I know John Sharp's got a lot of confidence in the wingman Duckworth as Briggs steps up and strikes it again with a left boot. This time he's not successful, so we've played 8 minutes and it's Featherstone Rovers 10, York City Knights 0. And Joe, what have you made of the start?
Well, we've definitely shown we've got more depth on the flanks this year. You did expect this to be a battle down the middle, really, because we saw the weather conditions for today. You know the pitch is going to be a little churned up, and it's going to be who comes out on top in terms of the forwards. As Joe picked out, though, we saw a lot of scrum moves last week against Hunslet, and we've seen it there again against York today. You're wondering, oh, here we are. It's penalty straight away for offside at the kick. Rovers going to start with the ball and put York under pressure again here.
Well, I'll tell you what, I know it's pre-season for the players, it's pre-season for the referee as well, and I think he's just making sure that the P's working in. The whistle there is Mr. Race, because why you give a penalty from a kick-off like that in a friendly game, I do not know.
That, of course, will have been York's second kick-off of the day, so you don't know whether he's earmarked one of those players on the one before, and if they go again, then they're for it, I'm afraid.
There speaks the voice of sense. Here comes Darryl Griffin driving the ball forward for Featherstone Rovers, who are just 20 metres away again. It's Sam Day at dummy half. Rovers certainly have started this game lightning, and here comes Ian Hardmans from the back, gets the ball away to Luke Briscoe, who takes the tackle just 18 metres out. Ball's back with Briggs now, and Bradley Tagg. He drives it towards the post. He's met by some strong defence, though, from a couple of York City Knight prop forwards. Ball's out to the right-hand side again, and this time it's Mariano on the charge. Tim Spears is third to the tackle, but Mariano slips the ball out the back beautifully. And who is it who's on hand to pick the ball up? It's Jason Walton, who goes over for his second try of the afternoon.
Well, John Sharp said when he announced this season's squad that he was looking for a couple of strike players on the outside. That was before the signings of Mariano and Moulton, and since they've come in, they've certainly added something out there. They're powering through again and again and combined beautifully there to see the Rovers go over and extend their lead even further.
I think someone needs to tell Jason Walton that this is Ian Hardmans' testimonial game, and I think Hardman, if he's got any sense, he'll stop attacking down this left channel and he'll follow the coattails of Jason Walton, because it really is where all the action is happening, in that right centre channel for Featherstone Rovers. 14 points to 0, just 10 minutes gone on the board. Blistering start from Rovers. I guess first game out for York City Knights was a club under new ownership, and you've got to feel for them a little bit.
Ian Hardman, of course, has taken on a coaching role at Leeds University recently, and if he's been giving some tips to Jason Moulton, you fancy we might see him down here as a coaching role at Fev in years to come.
I think he's certainly going to stay in the game, is Hardman. He lives and breathes rugby league, as Kyle Briggs lines up conversion attempt to that third Featherstone Rovers try. He strikes it with a left foot. He's kicked one, he's missed one. Well, he's missed two now, but that one came off the post. So 14-0 to Featherstone Rovers.
Just talk about Ian Hardman there and the work that he does off the field. He obviously did quite a number of years for Featherstone Rovers Foundation as well, before he got snapped up by Leeds Rugby Foundation, and did some sterling work in developing the Featherstone Rovers Foundation, which celebrated its 10th anniversary last year. So we have to remember the amount of work that Ian's done there, and his wife Amy is continuing that as well.
So York City Knights restart. Featherstone Rovers get the ball back. It's up to the 20-metre area with Duckworth. Now it's Luke Cooper, first man, driving the ball forward. He's 25 metres out from his own line. Sam Day's in at dummy half. He goes to the right-hand side to Wildy. And this time Mariano drives it forward. 3 York players bring him down, but Mariano still manages to finish on top of one and finish on his front. The ball's not that quick, though. But Sam Day still scoots from dummy half, beats the first man and makes it up to the halfway line, where he'll play the ball to Hardman. Wildy kicks from first receiver. And that bounces awkwardly for Ash Robson, who does well to watch it and then take the ball. But the Featherstone Rovers chase is good. They're there as a line. And first to the tackle were Sam Day and Jason Walton.
Yeah, it was decent spare 6 and a kick there. York been turned round on their own 10-metre line, having to bring it away. So we'll have a look at see what the Featherstone Rovers defence will do in this set now.
The defence is strong there on that second tackle of the set. Luke Cooper it is, and Bradley Tagg who come up as it's driven forward by the York City Knights. They play the ball just outside their own 30. Chris Siddons it was with the drive, and now this is Tim Spears. We know that man, and he's met by Bradley Tagg and John Davis. 2 people who were vying with Tim for that position last season, of course, but they find themselves on opposite sides today. Hardman collects the ball from fullback, returns it himself, and it's a good tackle is that from the City Knights. Captain Ed Smith was first to the tackle. And now it's Scott Turner, a man who's really shown up well for Featherstone Rovers in pre-season, who will play the ball 35 metres from his own line. Duckworth, heavily involved at the start of this game, James Duckworth, takes the ball up to his own 40-metre line. It's a central field position for Featherstone Rovers. We've played 14 minutes and Rovers lead 14-0, so it's a point a minute a game so far. As Sam Day scoots, the ball's knocked out by a York City Knights player, but the referee didn't really see that. He waved play on, and the City Knights come up with it, and will get the ball into the Rovers half of the field. Good field position for the City Knights for the first time, really.
It is Featherstone Rovers coming up with the error there, weren't they, in the tackle with Sam Day. Perhaps a bit of a loose carry from him. I'm not sure if he was looking to offload it as well, but it wasn't an impossible situation. So York get the ball, and they're into the Featherstone Rovers half, and we're not used to seeing them in this bit, so see what they do with the ball.
Well, the ball's in the hand of Sowerby, who gets it onto his half-back partner, and York move it further wide, but that's a good tackle by Wildy. York play it 25 metres away. Tim Spears runs around the back of half-back Harry Tyson Williams and takes the tackle 15 metres away. Left edge play from York now, through Tyson Williams, but they've dropped the ball and it's picked up by Wildy. So Rovers only had about 4 tackles to defend there, and they get the ball back through Matty Wildy. He plays it to Duckworth. Here's Ian Hardman now. Out to the 20-metre line.
Yeah, York were looking promising there, weren't they? 10 metres away from the Featherstone line, but Tyson Williams, the pass out to Briley was a little bit behind him and it went to ground, so Featherstone have got the ball back now.
They've got the ball back and they're working it down the left edge, and John Davis, he looked for the pass there, but the man was on him, so he safely took the tackle. But it's broken field play now for Kyle Briggs, who steps away from the first tackler. Just manages to get to him, does Danny Sowerby, but not before Briggs is up to within 35 metres, and it's further left. Featherstone Rovers go now. The ball's with Luke Briscoe, and Briscoe spins out of a couple of York defenders. We've gone from tries in the right centre to tries in the left centre, and Luke Briscoe completes a great Team Featherstone Rovers try there.
It was a good Team Rovers try, wasn't it? The ball coming loose on Featherstone's own 10 metre. Featherstone making those metres back up the field there. Some good breaks. Kyle Briggs with dodging round a few players, beating a couple of men. Good footwork from him, which is good to see, and a little bit of speed. And from that break, they passed it out to the left. Luke Briscoe found some room, sidestepped, did a couple of sidesteps and managed to get over the try line. Ian Hardman in the build-up to that try took a little bit of a knock. He's had a bit of attention to him, but he's looking okay now. There was a thumbs up there.
Well, that's a good to know, isn't it? We don't want Ardo going down on his testimonial. That would not be the easiest thing to speak about up here. Don't do it, Ian. Don't do it. So the Rovers players take some water on board and some words from Billy Mallinson as Kyle Briggs lines up a much simpler conversion, because Briscoe really ran around and put the ball down just a metre to the left of the uprights. So Briggs is 3 steps back, 2 to the right. He looks down at the ball, back up at the post, and he steps up now to strike it. No problems with that one. And after just 17 minutes here at the Big Fella Stadium, it's Featherstone Rovers who lead by 20 points to 0.
We saw some great play from the foot of the ruck in the build-up to that try. A brilliant one-handed pickup from Kyle Briggs to keep the ball rolling there. And as soon as he went to ground, we got some quick ball from Sam Day, sure enough to exploit that overlap on the left-hand side. Keele Carlisle and Sam Day, I think very much 2 hookers who prefer to come off the bench and make an impact, but we really need one of those players to step up to the plate and be willing to grind out those early minutes in a match.
So Robson restarts again for the City Knights. It's Wildy who's underneath it. Brings the ball back inside to Luke Cooper. Cooper drives it forward, but it's a good kick chase by the York City Knights, and Cooper's restricted to 18 metres from his own line. Central field position. Comes out to Darryl Griffin now. Griffin is slowed down with a good tackle from the experienced Ed Smith. But the ball comes to the left. That's a wonderful pass by Kyle Briggs. Missing out the centre. Finds Scott Turner, who looks for Hardman on his inside, but can't find Hardman. Instead, he gets the ball away to Briggs, who again offloads, and last-ditch tackling from Tim Spears prevents Sam Day from getting away. But he gets the ball played quickly, and now it's Bradley Tagg driving up the middle of the field to within 22 metres. Sam Day now to Griffin, who offloads this time, and that's good work to Hardman. And here's Jason Walton, checks back and runs the angle on the inside. It's the 5th and last play for Featherstone Rovers. They're 13 metres away and 10 metres to the left of the uprights. The ball's in the hand of Wildy, who dabs a kick through into the in-goal area. It hits the post, and Ash Robson at the back does really well to spot that and parry the ball dead before Featherstone Rovers could dive on it. And the York City Knights will drop out from underneath the post, and Rovers really building pressure nicely.
Well, they look threatening every time that they're in York territory, really. We've seen a different halves partnership this week with Wildy and Briggs, and it looks like there'll be real competition in those positions this year. Something great for Featherstone to see, and something that we've not had for a long time.
Yeah, just a bit of a break in play as Pat Smith, the hooker for the City Knights, just gets a bit of treatment. He retreats behind the line now, and that'll allow Danny Sowerby to restart with a drop kick, which is drilled, and well, it's chested nicely by Frankie Mariano, who then picks it up on the run. And Featherstone Rovers are just 23 metres away in the centre of the field as Mariano plays the ball. Luke Cooper with the drive. Tim Spears, experience, putting Cooper on his back, slows the play the ball down, but Rovers ship it to the right-hand side now, and it's Mariano again. Ball out the back door. This time Walton's not successful with the attempted tick pass. You could see what he was trying to do, trying to get that ball to Duckworth. And, well, at 20 points to nil, Joe, I guess you can decide to overplay a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit of sort of show play, wasn't it, almost there? Mariano to Walton. Walton tried to parry that ball out to James Duckworth, but unfortunately it went forward this time, so it will be a York scrum on their own 10 metres. But like you say, at 20 points to nil, you can afford to be a little bit showy, and in an Ian Hardman testimonial, why not?
Indeed, indeed. I think it's going to be like one of those football ones where we see someone from the past make a cameo appearance for the final 30 seconds of the game.
You never know. We've got a few in the stands here today, haven't we, of Ian's former players?
Oh, maybe John Sharp himself could put his boots on. So York play the ball on their own 20-metre line. They try and bring it out now, but the Rovers' defence is strong. 4 men in the tackle, pushing the City Knights player back. 1 metre gain, that is all, by Ed Smith. And again, that's strong work from the 2 Featherstone Rovers props, Cooper and Griffin. And forcing York to kick from within their own 30, and great positioning from Duckworth, who takes the ball on the full. Round of applause there for Tim Spears, who comes off the field.
Yeah, Tim Spears just having a breather at the moment, isn't it? And it has been a fast-paced game, as we've just seen there, as Jason Walter takes that ball in the middle of the field from Sam Day. Rovers looking for fast play of the balls here and trying to catch York out. And if they can get it out wide, there is a gap in the York defence, but Frankie Mariano's well wrapped up there instead.
Yeah, it was a quick play of the ball though from Mariano. And we saw Walton in field there, and he can play in the back row, he can play in the centre, and I think he thought I'll play everywhere there, and it was a barnstorming drive from Walton as Hardman shakes off Ed Smith, but then 3 more York players get to him, and Smith's back involved, and the tackle's completed on Hardman. It's 5th and last, and Rovers are 15 metres from the York City Knights line. They try a short side play, and then Briggs puts boot to ball. It's a little bit strong, but only a little bit strong, but that means it's a York City Knights ball and a tap on the 20.
Yeah, it was a decent option from Kyle Briggs there to put the little grubber kick in to the left. It was a good chase as well, but it just had a little bit too much pace on it and ended up going dead. So York City Knights taking that 20-metre restart.
We saw evidence of a new rule there, the referee waving his fist in the air, because from those restarts, the first tackle doesn't count this season. So this is a 7-tackle set, and York are trying to take advantage, and that's good work there by the substitute, Harry Carter, who was on the field. Rovers didn't have the markers set, and he took advantage, made 40 metres going down the field, and that's why the City Knights find themselves 30 metres from the Featherstone Rovers line. Ball's with Sowerby. Shows it to one and then gives it to another substitute, Mickey Learmont, who's off the bench. He's brought down 22 metres away from the Rovers line. So really the first time that Rovers have had to defend in what we call the danger zone. It's a drive forward from Ronan Dixon for the City Knights. Good tackle from Cooper. Fifth and last tackle, and that's a poor ball out of dummy half, so Sowerby couldn't collect it. He knocked the ball forward, and unfortunately for the Knights, and in a pre-season game, unfortunately for Featherstone Rovers, we didn't get to see the end of the set, because we don't want to see those in league games, Joe, but we want all the practice we can get at defending those last tackle kicks in pre-season.
We certainly do, and that was a bit of promise from York City Knights there, wasn't it? That's probably the most metres that they've gained during a set of 6, I'd say, and it was wholly down to that break from Harry Carter, the scooting break. He showed quite a bit of pace to make 20 or 30 metres down the field, so a little bit of confidence there for York City Knights to take into the next set of 6 to show that this Featherstone defence isn't impenetrable, and we've just got a double substitution by Featherstone there.
Yeah, Michael Knowles is on, and Andy Bostock's on, and it's a triple substitution because Richard Moore is on the field as well for Featherstone Rovers. So let's have a look who's gone off. It looks like Darryl Griffin, Brad Tagg,
John Davis,
and John Davis, who have left the field for Featherstone Rovers. Well, I'm glad Darryl Griffin's come on, because him and Richard Moore from up here, they're two peas in a pod with that close cropped hair, aren't they?
I did have a bit of a shock with Darryl Griffin last week. I didn't recognise him for a start, but yeah, it was a bit of a shock. Was that hair cut?
It's Robson who collects it at the back for the City Knights. He'll play the ball on his own 20-metre line in the centre of the field. Ball's brought forward by Foggin Johnston. That's a name you'll not forget if he makes it in rugby league. D. Foggin Johnston. And it's taken further forward now. But good Featherstone Rovers defence, and Richard Moore involved, and then retreats back to the defensive line as York try and work it down the left-hand side of the field. That's well read by Kyle Briggs, who he's had a good start to the game, hasn't he, Kyle Briggs?
He has, yeah, certainly. He's looking quite confident, isn't he, and being involved in a lot of the play, either in attack and defence.
Well, he's back in the line defending now. It's the 5th and last tackle that Rovers are defending, and York have just got into the Rovers half of the field, and then they put boot to ball, and it's Ian Hardman at the back who collects it safely, as he always does, and then gets the ball away to Scott Turner. He tries to shake out of a tackle, but he just can't shake Harry Carter off. Gets a quick play of the ball, though, and Rovers work it to the other winger now, James Duckworth. A real feature of Featherstone Rovers' play is the way that the wingmen bring the ball out of defence. Luke Cooper's off the field now for Featherstone Rovers, and just trying to see who has gone on for him. It looks like Aaron Lyons is out there for the Rovers. So a man on trial getting another chance to press his claim. We've got Kitchen on the bench as well, and but no place in the squad for Josh Hardcastle today, but he's probably done enough in the first 2 games.
Yeah, he certainly has, hasn't he? He's looked impressive in both the games, away at Halifax and at home to Hunslet last week. I like his style of play, actually, Martin. I don't know what you thought of him when you've seen him, but I do like his style of play.
Well, just before I answer that, York have pinched the ball there off Featherstone Rovers, so they have the ball in hand. But yeah, coming back to Josh Hardcastle, I think the biggest compliment you can pay him is that he looked like the most experienced player on the field at Halifax, not the least experienced player, and likewise Hunslet as well. So he looks like he's got professional rugby league player written all over him, into me. So York City Knights drive the ball into the Featherstone Rovers 30. the ball is played, and it's Harry Carter, who's been sharp since he came on, who gets the ball away to Tyson Williams, his half-back partner, and the ex-Hull FC man puts the chip through, and it almost leads to a try. He thought he got on the end of it there, the aforementioned Harry Carter, but the ball just beat him. It's a quick restart from Featherstone Rovers, and from York City Knights almost scoring at one end. The defending now as Scott Turner makes a good 15 metres, but Joe just a bit slow in defence there, Featherstone Rovers, and almost paid the price.
Well, Harry Carter very much the danger man for York so far. He made that fantastic break earlier on, and York are going to have the chance yet again here to knock on there from Kyle Briggs. Kyle Briggs looked very sharp in his first game back for me so far. But there we are, penalty given away for dissent, just to make matters worse for the Rovers. Chance for their defence to be challenged though now, and we do need that test in pre-season with only those games against the 2 Super League sides to come now.
Yeah, and York move it down the field with the first phase of that penalty, and they'll begin 25 metres from the Featherstone Rovers line. So a full set for Rovers to defend. Ed Smith, the City Knights captain, who takes the ball forwards. Now it's the turn of Dixon. He's well handled by Featherstone Rovers in the shape of Aaron Lyons. York move it to the left, to the middle of the field now with Sowerby, who brings on Joe Porter to the ball. Porter will play it just 10 metres away from the Rovers line. That's a strong run and a loose ball. It's picked up by the York City Knights, but knocked on, says the referee. Difficult to see from here. It looked like the ball had gone backwards, but of course it could have gone forwards first. But the York City Knights, they've unfortunately not been able, from their perspective, to complete that set. But good defensive work from Featherstone Rovers.
It was Carter again who ended up over the line. He's determined to get a try today, but things just aren't quite working out for him. Featherstone are going to have to come out from deep here, and like we've been saying, it's important that they face these tests and show they're able to respond when they're under the cosh a little bit. 22-year-old is Danny Carter, and it's a very young York City Knights squad. It's Featherstone Rovers, though, will come up with the penalty here, but certainly in that squad it is Tim Spears and Tommy Saxton, another player we know well who's not playing today, who stand out as the elder statesman, and it'll be their job this year to bring some of these youngsters on for James Ford. Briggs with ball in hand again. This time he offloads it to Richie Moore, who is the king of the offload. He'll be looking for one, but York are alert to that, and they wrap him up. But it's a quick play the ball from Richard Moore, and that gives Sam Day some room to operate, and Sam Day's into the City Knights half of the field. He plays the ball to Briggs, just gets up a little bit gingerly, and now it's Richard Moore again. He really does do things different to what other forwards in this league does Richard Moore, so he adds an extra dimension to Featherstone Rovers. And that's Hardman with one of those typical runs where he comes from nowhere and creates extra space in the attacking line for Featherstone Rovers. He'll play the ball just 25 metres from the York City Knights line. The ball's with Wildy, shows it to one, shows it to two, then gives it to Moore, who with that upper body strength shakes off a York City Knights player and got the arm free, but wisely chose to hold on to it. It's fifth and last tackle for Featherstone Rovers. They're 15 metres away. The ball's with Briggs. This time he goes high with the kick, and it comes down. It's very well taken by the York City Knights, but a good set for Featherstone Rovers, and finished with a high kick there, John. Yeah, Richard Moore taking 3 drives in that set. We're already seeing that work rate coming through, and he's a real menace for the defence. Some great combinations, though, with him and Sam Day. Sam Day, of course, so quick from out of the ruck, and when the defence is dishevelled like that, once he's dragged so many men in, side, it creates space for Day to run into. He got a bang on the beak for his trouble, did Sam Day, I think. The referee indicating that he could do with a wipe down. So the Rovers physio is on the field. The thumb goes in the air to say it's not going to be a problem. Sam Day will be able to carry on. It's a big season for Sam Day, Joe. He's got an opportunity here to break into the first team, you feel? He certainly has. He's been knocking on that door, hasn't he, for the last season or so, and just not being able to break into a regular first team spot, but he's been given plenty of exposure in these pre-season friendly games, isn't he? And I think going back, I think his busted nose might have been when he was getting up gingerly from a few players ago, so he's had it wiped, he's fine. Oh, that's good kick pressure from Aaron Lyons, and that means that it's straight down the throat of Ian Hardman, who, as ever, is positioned wonderfully at
fullback. Gets a bit of a cling around the neck there for his troubles as Hardman, but he's all right. He's up. He plays the ball on his own 40-metre line, and it's Duckworth to try and take Rovers up towards the halfway line. He's held just a couple of metres shy, and as he plays the ball, Sam Day, in fact, has come off the field now, and Keele Carlisle has gone on the field. We'll speak about Keele Carlisle in a little bit, maybe at the end of this set, because Bostock drives the ball forward, bursts through the line. He looked for support, but it wasn't there, so he took the tackle, and he plays the ball 30 metres from the line. That's a set move there that didn't quite come off, but Rovers kept the ball alive, and it's come to Richie Moore, and he'll take him on and run straight at the little man Sowerby. And to be fair to Sowerby, he did well to cling on, and then his sitting out teammates got there to help him out. Short side play by Rovers on the last. It's Briscoe. He gets the ball away really well under pressure, but then in trying to offload, Scott Turner loses the ball, and it's York sitting out, so come up with it. So I think John Sharp will just be starting to get a little bit disappointed with the ends to some of these sets.
Yeah, there was a pre-planned move, like I say, on the fourth tackle, wasn't there, that just didn't quite come off, but they still managed to keep the ball alive, get it out to Richard Moore, who went out to that left-hand side and was tackled by some York Knights, just as York gets a penalty there for a high shot on their prop forward, Bobby Tyson-Williams, and so they're going to take a kick from their own 20. But yeah, and then on the last play decided to not go for any kind of kick, so I'll go for a power play with Luke Briscoe, and it just didn't come off. Scott Turner ended up with the ball and ended up getting tackled with it. So probably a disappointing end if you wanted to be quite critical, and which I'm sure John Sharp will be.
Ball's come out in that tackle though, and so Featherstone Rovers have got the ball back, and it's with Michael Knowles, who works it left towards Kyle Briggs, who is doing well in marshalling this left channel today for Featherstone Rovers. Keele Carlisle is in at dummy half, and he gets the ball to Wildear. He's like a new signing this season, is Wildear for Rovers, because of course he got that terrible knee ligament injury in pre-season last year, so he comes into the season fresh and looking very fresh. Good performances so far in pre-season, and an excellent ball there, right on cue to Jason Walton. That is a good tackle, you've got to say, from the City Knights winger, but it's picked up and the ball's found its way out to James Duckworth, who is best to try and stay in the field of play, but credit to the City Knights defence there. They managed to bring Jason Walton down. Last-ditch tackle it was from the wingman, Foggin Johnston, and then they combined there to push Duckworth into touch. It
was good play by Featherstone, wasn't it, to get it out to Jason Walton, and he looked for all. You'd have thought he'd been in for a try there because of his power, but that was a copybook tackle from D. Foggin Johnston. Man and ball brought him to the ground, and then the ball went out to James Duckworth, and the York players managed to bundle him into touch.
Keele Carlisle, I said we'd come back to him. He knows how to endear himself to his new club, doesn't he? He's a Featherstone Rovers fan. His granddad used to bring him to the games, and he's all smiles and made up on Twitter. Pictures with his family, all got Rovers shirts on. He'll go far, that lad. He's obviously a bright lad as well as a good rugby player.
Yeah, we interviewed him in pre-season training back in October, November, when they started the pre-season training quite early, and he said what an honour it was to put that Featherstone Rovers shirt on, having watched them as a child, and that's the kind of passion that you want in your player, isn't it?
It is, and he's a good acquisition for Featherstone Rovers. Got Super League experience, of course, was he at Huddersfield, I do believe, and as York play the ball quickly through Danny Sowerby, who's shown up well in this game, and it's too quick for Featherstone Rovers because the markers aren't square, and York, after that terrible start, going 20 points to 0 down after 17 minutes, have grown into this game, and it's a competitive game now.
It is, and I think Harry Carter coming on the field has added quite a bit of that. He's got a bit of pace, hasn't he, as that lad, and he's injected something into the team that we hadn't been seeing prior to that.
We saw Sam Day earlier for the Rovers exploiting those men who were slow around the ruck area, and Carl Briggs knew he was offside at that point. He was backtracking, but Carter wasn't having any of it, and Briggs just had to tackle him and concede the penalty. That's giving York this field position.
It has, and Rovers have got to defend. 3.5 minutes left to the break. Rovers hold a 20 points to 0 lead, but York City Knights trying to get on the scoreboard, but unfortunately they won't on this set because Harry Tyson-Williams has knocked the ball forward under contact. The referee just waving physio on the field because Mariano has got a bang on the head in making that tackle, but he looks like he'll be fine, does big Frankie. And when we pack the scrum down, it'll be Featherstone Rovers head and feed.
Relieved to see that Andy Bostock was okay after a challenge he took up the other end of the field before a scrum. He'd sent the ball out wide, and there we are. We don't often see Andy Bostock letting go of the ball before he's tackled, but took a late shot. Of course, he bounces straight back up, though. Andy Bostock's made a sterner stuff than that.
Big lad is Bostock, and he's a strong lad as well, and I always smile to myself when I think that he used to play centre. Ian Hardman appealing that the ball was ripped out there, but the referee says it is brought out okay, and in fact Featherstone Rovers have held on, so York not only get the ball back, but they get a penalty as well, and a chance to put some pressure on the Featherstone Rovers line with 3 minutes left till the break. It's Featherstone Rovers 20, York City Knights 0, as Sowerby puts the ball into touch, and York will begin just 20 metres away from the Rovers line. Chris Siddons, who drives the ball in, a signing from the Lock Lane Amateur Club. He's a big lad, he's wearing number 20, and the ball's cleaned up there by Tyson Williams, who gets the ball further on, but the Featherstone Rovers defence is strong. I think there's an injury to a York City Knights player here, as Aaron Lyons got up. He just waved to the sideline to say there was a problem for the player who'd been tackled. So on goes the physio, and we get a break in play. And Joel, what do you think? John Sharp will have made of the first half overall? 'Cause it was a blistering start by Rovers, but as the substitutes have been made, it seems to have broken up the pattern of play, really.
Certainly was. There's a bit of coercion gone in the side. It's like watching a training game of attacking defence, really, the way in which York have grown into the match. They've brought in a bit of that youthful enthusiasm with the pace we spoke about, Carter, and they've really looked to trouble Rovers, as some of those partnerships in defence are a bit fragmented, and there's starting to be gaps appear. He'll hope that starts to be sealed as the players get used to being around each other and work out where they need to be. Definitely some worrying signs, though, because York did look like nothing in those early encounters. We hope that the players aren't suffering from burnout and they've not maybe thrown in too much too early doors.
Well, I don't think so. We should remember that Rovers are playing up the hill as well, and York City Knights showing some spirit. But at the end of the game, for one of their players who was making his way off the field, he's replaced by James Haynes. But it'll be a York City Knights restart as Joe Porter plays the ball. Siddons drives it forwards. Sharp work around dummy half again. A good ball from Sowerby to Ed Smith, and that is good defence. That is Ian Hardman at his best, you know, at the back there. Ed Smith thought he was going to score the try, but no, Ian Hardman's in play there. And, that's a bit cheeky, Ed Smith. Just pushing out at Ian Hardman. Does he not know it's his testimonial game? You were tackled, Ed. Just, deal with it. Let's move on, as the rest of your team have, because the York City Knights have gone over the other side of the field. They'll play the ball just a couple of metres away. Tyson Williams puts boot to ball. Briggs is underneath it, though. Takes the ball well, but the York City Knights were offside, so Featherstone Rovers get the penalty.
There we saw it. Trademark stuff from Ian Hardman. We've had many fullbacks come into the side and take that number 1 jersey, like Mark Campbell was saying pre-match, but ultimately none of them quite have that defensive solidarity that Ian has. He's just impenetrable at the back there, and always a player you can rely on. Might not always have the attacking flair, but he's always on the shoulder, always ready to back a player up, and Featherstone there showing that backing up players. Carl Briggs takes the ball from Richard Moore. Richard Moore, I think that's his first offload of the game, Very unlike him.
I can almost guarantee it won't be his last. So Featherstone Rovers play the ball just shy of the halfway line, looking to finish the half on a high as Matty Wiley takes the tackle 40 metres away from the York City Knights line. Here is Bostock. He drives the ball forwards. He plays the ball now to Keil Carlisle, who shows to go one way and then passes the other way. The ball's with Michael Knowles. Cut out pass to Turner on the wing, who runs behind a couple of players, but it's okay by the referee. And then great footwork from Scott Turner and a wonderful offload, and he's done it. The man on his testimonial, Ian Hardman, backing up as he does so well. Great play from Scott Turner.
Oh yes, we saw Scott Turner is so elusive with the style of running that he has. The players just don't seem to be able to tackle him. The ball came out to Michael Knowles. He cut out Luke Briscoe to pass it out to the left to Scott Turner. He cut back inside from that left wing, came into the field, arced round players, and Mr. Dependable Ian Hardmans was there backing up as ever, ready to take that offload, which was a good offload from Scott Turner, and he's gone into the left of the uprights. So not had any points from Featherstone for a while, but we've got some on the board now, so it's 24 points to 0, and Kyle Biggs just lining up this kick, Joe.
I'll tell you what, Joe, I'd have paid that cover defence myself to make sure that Scott Turner had to pass that ball and put Ian Hardmans in for a try in his testimonial. Worried it wasn't going to happen, but sure enough it has.
It's like a fairy story, isn't it, coming true?
Definitely. It did look like Jason Walton was going to be the man of the hour, but Ian Hardmans has got his moment.
We'll look for another
one framed,
yeah, we'll have another 2 in the second half maybe, and get that hat trick for him.
So there goes the half-time ultra try. Hardmans scored that try in his testimonial game just on the stroke of half-time. That makes the half-time score 26 points to 0 in favour of Featherstone Rovers. Scoring was open in the first minute, really. Jason Walton crossing on that far side. It was only 5 minutes later when Duckworth went over. Briggs converted the Walton try, but not the Duckworth one. And it was Walton again, 14 points to 0 Featherstone Rovers led after 10 minutes. Blistering start, and it continued as Briscoe crossed this time on the left edge, and Briggs added the extras after 17 minutes. 20 points to 0 it was for Featherstone Rovers. But then the York City Knights, they came into the game, showed some good signs, but the Featherstone Rovers defence remained resolute. The City Knights couldn't get over, and then wonderful try there at the end of the first half. Full credit to Scott Turner. He's had a big pre-season so far. Showed some lovely footwork there. It's reminiscent of Hardman's mate, actually, Tommy Saxton, as he stepped through the defensive line there and shipped the ball out of the back. Ian Hardmans scored the try. Briggs added the extras. What a wonderful way to end that first half.
Yeah, it's been a mixed bag of a first half, hasn't it? It was all Featherstone Rovers for the first 20 minutes, putting those 20 points on the board, nearly a point a minute at one point. And then York, with the introduction of Harry Carter onto the field, he brought a bit of zip and flair into that York attack, and York had a bit of a purple patch. They managed to keep Featherstone scoreless until almost the half-time outer, so for that second half of the first half. And unfortunately, York unable to get over the line. They did go close on a few occasions, but unable to get over. And Featherstone just coming back with that try just before half-time with Ian Hardmans after that lovely piece of play by Scott Turner. So second half, Featherstone going down towards the Post Office Road end. I'd expect to see a few more Featherstone Rovers tries in that second half.
Well, we'll join you for full coverage of the second half. We'll leave you here at half-time from the Big Fella Stadium, where it's Featherstone Rovers 26, York City Knights 0. I didn't have my on for that rap, did I? Is that right? When I did my rap after my cough, I didn't have mic on.
I did not.
You'll have to cut it out and take Joanne's summation. When you point a camera at me, yeah, I didn't have mic on because I turned it off when I was choking. So you might have to...
You gave it to Joe, didn't you?
No, we have to be back on track.
Oh, right. Oh, and then he coughed again.
Or maybe Joe didn't have mic on either. Anyway. Jamie will fix it. When were you then? When you were summing it up?
To be sound I'm doing impressions.
It's a bit of coming out.
What were you laughing at when I said D fucking whatever it's called?
Somehow it sounds rude, doesn't it? Sounds like you're going to...
I think it sounds like 1920s, like D fucking Johnston. D fucking Johnston going in at the corner there. Oh, what an ace name, I can't know this.
Last time it's Dean Hogan Johnson.
I need some of this light on.
It comes on automatically.
No, these are controlled by Sam.
Oh, do it?
Yeah.
I thought it was.
No, it isn't. That was not through this thing, I thought.
I was thinking that, you know. We're all a bit weird that later this season.
It's been at all.
That's always my weird have live. That's what I'm going to go through now.
It's been at all.
How long was that on for?
Someone just telling an injury if we've got quiet.
Did you go back?
No, I'm just saying if they did.
This is Mrs. expensive. She's like from Sheffield, so. I like that. I think it's more of a school outfit.
He's got game control about.
He's got a secret as well.
I'm not really a fan of it.
Yeah.
Now, Rich does when he's on the
When he's on form.
just occasionally.
Hello. Oh, Jamie coming behind us then outside his hello.
If you need back today, sat down there, right?
You're right there, right? Yeah, we're thinking of it.
What am I doing? I'll play down left. Because when he first came round, Finny was they tried to change down right, brings that left. It works. You can't sidestep it.
Send people to me want to buy the skills. I'll take the details. I don't want it there and then.
You went to Sheffield.
Yeah, but I'm I just choked for that.
Like this in Snowdonia. It's like this wave thing.
I've got Ben's
It's
dirty
like
one,
on this
Joe's
big
got a
plane,
new
and they have all huts that the sleep
Joe's got a clean one.
and then outside of these cabins, I think that creates a wave and they've all been like been sort of surfing and stuff. So we can TV have been down there, filming and stuff in a bit of pre-season.
How did you do
Well, when we're complaining about the Dubai trip being
Oh,
like,
the trip,
it's the first time I think he called it a holiday. And I'm like, really? And then he's got wicked on flavors.
Yeah, it's not going to wait to see what else we can do as well. We've got something else down in Snowdonia. So that obviously going in. Watch the championship teams don't have that opportunity, do they? Yeah. Could have thought of it, yeah.
I'll see you in
Looks quite cool though, what we're doing. I thought I might go that. Maybe when it's a bit warm. doing all right, aren't we?
You too.
Yeah, well, no, it's good and all, but, well, we don't know. We're meeting with Ian, so that's good.
I'm just here where I'm not sports data games. So, yeah, they don't want that. Should be a bit more decent. Should be a bit more this season to do something.
Not that many so for the game, don't something else.
Yeah, exactly. It's a better situation than it was last few years ago, where Jamie was just bringing it.
Yeah, it's anybody do it, yeah. And that's the thing, you don't want to, to spike the face. Then there's that balance I think we were looking at seeing if we could get some like journalism students or something like that, see if they wanted to do commentary.
I've seen Ben downstairs.
Have you? Yeah, right.
I was crying.
Give over.
Well, you get one bigger.
Yeah. Well, I suppose they're not supposed to be changing that now. Doing it sort of like weight related rather than age.
Alright.
So they're on about bringing it.
They are on about bringing it, and it kind of works in New Zealand for our kids.
You seen that kid who?
Oh,
That Maori
Oh,
kid?
God, yeah.
But the real issue is this country where it's fat shame.
Look at him. That little bit on there.
The trouble is, it didn't help develop the squad because all they do is give it to big black dude crashes over, and it's not developing the skills of the rest of the squad.
Well, it's never them big lads that make it grow.
No, it isn't. But the trouble is, the others aren't developing because it's like, oh, give it to big lads because he'll score kind of thing. But the trouble is, doing it the right way as well, it's maturity up there, isn't it? Because you could be a big lad and big 8-year-olds, but you might only have the mind of the 6-year-old.
It's a good problem,
The
man.
way coaching is because they can do with
On the other.
keeping it at age groups, play send lads up and down.
Yeah.
That you reckon?
To do that, I know.
Ideally,
You're dressing up. It's all full of blood, isn't it?
C, E, E.
Yeah.
What's next in it?
Because players already can play one grade up.
Yeah.
Link stayed up.
Yeah, we haven't got many, we've got about 80, I think.
80. It's quite a few, isn't it?
Yeah. We have Bradford.
Be fat shame.
That's
They're
good,
all rich lads from Street House. They're playing up on the
Maybe-
range when they're 16.
Right, let's shut marks on. That's on now, isn't it? 1-2. Well, the teams are making their way out for the second half of this Ian Hardman testimonial game, a game which Featherstone Rovers lead 26 points to 0. And what do you think Coach John Sharp would have made of that first half performance? What do you think he'll have been saying in the dressing room at half time?
I think he'll have been pleased with that first 20 minutes. Featherstone looking totally in control. Bit of concentration lapse, combination of concentration lapse and York making a few changes that enabled York to get back into the game. He perhaps wasn't so pleased with that, and going towards the latter end of the half, some of the ends of the sets of sixes, the ends of plays where perhaps the wrong choice was taken. But it was all forgiven by that good try on the 39th minute by Ian Hardmans after Scott Turner came into the field. So I think there's pluses and minuses that John Sharp will have been concentrating on from that first half, and obviously made a few interchanges as well, and he'll be looking at how they went and the interactions, and we were just talking at half time about he'll be looking very closely at the half-back pairings, won't he, because he'll still need to decide what he's going to start with in that first away game at Halifax.
He certainly will, and he's given a couple more trialists a chance here because James Kitchen is on the field, who's involved in the tackle, and having said he wasn't involved in the squad, Josh Hardcastle looks like he's out on the field as well, so he's not on the team sheet, but he's on the field is Josh Hardcastle as York play the ball on their own 20-metre line, brought forward by Tim Spears. Spears plays the ball 28 metres out. Ball comes out to the left-hand side now. Good work by Tag, and in particular by Aaron Lyons in defence. Tag puts some pressure on the quick kicker, and Hardman, look at that, what beautiful positioning from Hardman to take that ball on the full and make it up out of his own 40-metre area. I think he just got a knock on his knee as he went down there in the tackle, but he's a tough cookie, is Ian Hardman. He's up, plays the ball, and ball comes out to Hardcastle, back to Hardman, who promptly gets rid of it to Brad Tag as he just tries to shake that knee injury off. Here's James Kitchen going forward. Player, of course, who played a few years ago at Featherstone Rovers, largely in the reserve side, but he's back here on trial from Featherstone Lions. And here's another one on trial, Hardcastle, who ships the ball back to James Duckworth, who, with good footwork, beats the York defender Brad Hay. And Ian Hardman, he's had to leave the field here in his testimonial game, so that's very sad for Ian Hardman. Hopefully we'll see him back a little bit later on. The ball is out, though, to Michael Knowles, who misses the man with his pass, but there was interference, says the referee. Player tackled without the ball, so Featherstone Rovers get the penalty, but very sad to see Ian Hardman leave the field there, Joe.
It is, yeah. It says he got tackled just short of the halfway line. Nev Morrison tackled him, and it was sort of like in a kneeling position was Ian, and Morrison in the tackle bent him backwards, and I think he's perhaps just strained something in his left leg. He looked to be limping, so yeah, it's sad to see him leave the field so early in the second half, and especially in his testimonial.
But Rovers shipping the ball out. That looks like Kyron Johnson, is it, with the ball in his hand? He's wearing number 3 on his back, so these numbers and positions are all over the place. But Johnson's out there, as is Hardcastle, who's going towards the corner now, tries to get the ball back inside as he's going out of the field of play, but just cannot do so. So Featherstone Rovers lose possession there because it'll be York City Knights head and feed by way of this scrum.
Yeah, just run out of room on that right-hand side. Did Josh Hardcastle there? He's trying to take it tight to the touchline. He knew he was going into touch, tried to get the pass back inside, but he'd already stepped into touch. So it's a York City Knights scrum on the 10-metre as Tyson Williams puts the ball in.
It's out with Sowerby. It was tackled by Richie Moore and Michael Knowles. Keil Carlisle involved as well. Here's Tim Spears, drives it forward. Well met by James Kitchen, I have to say. I mean, these lads stepping up from the Lions, they just look comfortable out there, don't they?
Yeah, the hard tackle there from Kitchen.
That was a big hit. And Tim Spears, a man who himself likes an hard tackle. A little respect that will Tim Spears. Ball comes out now to the left, through the hands of Sowerby, through Tyson Williams, who takes the line on and then takes the tackle from Lyons and Tag. Sowerby again, inside ball this time to Bobby Tyson Williams. I'm tipping with the names, and they're both from Hull, that these guys are brothers, but clearly one ate all the breakfast.
Yeah, it's a bit of a difference in size between the two guys, isn't there?
Ball's collected at the back from Kyron Johnson, who it looks like has replaced Ian Hardman at fullback possibly. And Kyron plays the ball now just outside his own 10-metre line. Scott Turner gets out at a 20. Good quick play the ball as well. Now it's Duckworth. Been very impressed with the two wingmen today, and Duckworth on this occasion beating the line with footwork, getting out of the 40. Tag takes the ball forward. Some big impacts there, but it doesn't stop Brad Tag. He just keeps driving it forward, finishes on his front and plays the ball on the York 40. Now it's the turn of Richie Moore, who gets the offload away, but Gail Carlisle just couldn't quite take the ball in. But the referee has given a penalty against York here for being offside, and just let the game flow. It's pre-season.
York fans not very happy with that decision. I think one thing that the Featherstone players do need to learn is to always be following Richard Moore in the tackle, always be alert to the fact that he might offload, and he offloaded there with a characteristic bit of play from Richard Moore, but Gail Carlisle just not alert to it. So I think that is definitely going to be a learning point, isn't it, for the Featherstone players?
Featherstone on the attack here from the penalty restart, and it's a lovely short ball from Kyle Briggs to Michael Knowles, and Knowles has gone in for the try. There's some sort of celebration there from Michael Knowles, bit of a Usain Bolt style celebration. But we talked in the first half about Rovers right edge, but I'm really encouraged, Joe, with how Knowles are combining on that left edge.
Definitely, when we're shipping the ball out wide, Rovers look to pose a threat every time they have the ball, and that's something that they've definitely lacked in recent years. Michael Knowles has always been someone who's caused us plenty of trouble for Sheffield, but now in a Featherstone shirt is something really pleasing to see. He's already shown us what he's got in terms of a kicking game in pre-season, but there he was, unopposed, running in for a try, showing us what he can do ball in hand.
He was, and that makes the score 30 points to 0 in favour of Featherstone Rovers. We're 6 minutes into the second half, and Kyle Briggs is lining up this conversion attempt from 10 metres inside from that far touchline, and he's of course about 20 metres out from the York City Knights try line. Just having a look down at the ball, and one more look up at the post. Steps up now, strikes it with a left foot. He's got a low trajectory, and he's missed that one, as Kyle Briggs. So with the 7 minutes of the second half gone, it's Featherstone Rovers who'll lead the York City Knights by 30 points to 0.
You could see Briscoe there receiving some treatment from the physio, but he's fit to continue, and that's definitely a promising sign for the Rovers. He offers us something different in that sense. On the one side, you've got Jason Walton with all that power, and he's certainly been a real threat for us today. But Briscoe, such blistering pace. It's already been evident in pre-season the kind of trouble he can cause for the opposition, but wouldn't want to lose a player like him.
No, and Missy Tower-Papa, another centre we've not seen yet this year, and Chris Aluja, of course. So from being a bit thin in that position really last year, we certainly have some competition for places there, which is very positive news for John Sharp. So Aaron Lyons brings it out of his own 30-metre area. Plays the ball, and now it's Richard Moore who takes it forward. Good work from Ed Smith to get round from marker defence and put the tackling on Richie Moore, but he gets a good play the ball away, a quick play the ball, and now it's with James Kitchen, who likewise plays the ball very, very quickly. Kick over from Featherstone Rovers into this corner. The ball's going to sit in the in-goal area, so there's work to do for Ash Robson, who uses his own player as a dummy, as a foil. Featherstone Rovers complete the tackle, and the Rovers players look at the referee, and I think they just think, referee, you've blown up for some strange ones today, and you've let that one go.
Just one of those surreal moments, really, that we've seen as Nev Morrison does.
There they are, right on cue, Joseph. Sorry to interrupt you, but, you know, come on.
A bizarre spell there. York, therefore, getting out of deeply within their territory. It looked like Featherstone were going to pile the pressure on as this ball comes hurtling towards us. Doesn't quite plonk me in the head, but gave it his best shot. He did. Keil Carlisle, though, perfectly weighted kick into the in-goal area. And it looked like, for all the world, Featherstone were going to force a goal line dropout.
It's Tim Spears taking it forward for the City Knights up towards the halfway line. Richard Moore brings him to ground. And Spears plays the ball on that halfway line. To the left it comes, and that was a good line run there by Brad Hay, and an equally good tackle by Matty Wildy to bring him to ground. Ash Robson down the left. That's the wingman Nev Morrison. He plays the ball to Carter. Siddons now drives it into the heart of the Rovers defence. Richie Moore puts him to ground, but allows him to find his front on a fifth tackle. And ball's kicked by Tyson Williams now to the corner. Underneath it is Duckworth, who takes it very convincingly. And well, I think, Joseph, the wingers have stood out today for Featherstone Rovers.
Definitely. It's been a real feature of the pre-season that they've brought the ball out from deep on so many occasions. It takes that work off the forwards, and then they've got that freshness about them to bring the ball out later in the set, just as Kitchen did. We've got some forwards with real power, and we want to make use of them to their fullest. We want them to have plenty of energy, and then we can keep powering through against teams in the second half.
Kicking out a dummy half is Matty Wildy. He stepped to the right and kicked the ball forwards. It's collected at the back by Robson, and it's given to Foggin Johnston. That's a good tackle though from Featherstone Rovers. Good chase there by Wildy, who's had an impressive game, and I've liked the look of the combination between Wildy and Briggs, I have to say.
Very pleasing to have Matty Wildy back for this season. Yet another penalty we've seen here. Fancy that was for holding down at the ruck there from the Rovers. No opportunities here though within discipline to keep York pinned, and other teams will cause you more trouble than York if we let them into our area so frequently. Matty Wildy though, offering plenty in terms of his versatility. He can play all over the shop. In at hooker, he can be a real use there as well as in the halfback like he is today.
Brad Tagg has put himself about well today, and that was a strong tackle right into the meat of the York City Knights attacker, and Ronan Dixon certainly felt it. York play the ball now, 30 metres from the Featherstone Rovers line. Here's Tim Spears. Wrapped up by the Rovers defence, and trying to go forward on his knee. Gets a good quick play of the ball, does Spears. Tyson Williams now down the left, but the ball has come loose from the City Knights. They've knocked the ball on Featherstone Rovers after good defence there. They'll get the ball back with head and feet at this scrum.
Great spot from Wildy there in defence. We saw he knew the ball was going to Tyson Williams, so closed him down quickly as soon as he received the ball. Forces that mistake, and that's what you need from your halfbacks. Often they're that frail player who can be targeted in the defensive line, but not the case there from Wildy.
No, we were just speaking. He's had a very, very good game with the number 7 on his back as Matty Wildy, and he'll put the ball into this scrum now. Featherstone Rovers, of course, leading this match by 30 points to 0. 28 minutes of the game left, and now Luke Briscoe with a jinking run, bringing the ball out of defence, gets out to the 20-metre mark before he's put to ground and gets up quickly and plays the ball. And he rides a big challenge. Does Kitchen, gets the ball away as well. That's great play from James Kitchen. Oh, and a lovely inside ball from Knowles, and it's Kyron Johnson with a chance to show some pace going down the middle of the field, and he's caught at the back by Ash Robson, but Johnson does really well. Gets to the 30-metre mark. Could have had a penalty there for holding down, and well, the referee has given a penalty now for not marking square. I think he knows in his own mind that he probably should have given a penalty for holding down, so he's found a reason to give Featherstone Rovers the penalty that they deserve for that good play and sharp play from Kyron Johnson.
We saw the threat of Michael Knowles there, though. A second row who really plays with his head up. He's not just going to run the ball in. He'll look for players around him, and made use of Kyron Johnson there on the inside, coming up in support, very much in the Ian Hardman role. But he had the pace to burn once he was through and has put us in a good position here.
He has, and he's a devil for defenders. You don't know where he's going to kick, where he's going to take you on, whether he's going to pass. But there's a pass from Featherstone Rovers, and it's a pass to Brad Tagg, and Brad Tagg has scrambled his way over for a great try. Who was the pass from? Was it Keil Carlisle? I think it might have been, but it was Brad Tagg who got on the end of it. And the referee had a look, just make sure it wasn't a double movement. I think one of the York players thought it was, because he called Danny Sowerby out as a referee, but it's Brad Tagg who has crossed for Featherstone Rovers with 26 minutes of the game left, and now Featherstone Rovers lead by 34 points to 0.
Yeah, Carlisle had options out the back base. The short ball to Tagg, who's there in the front, comes blistering onto it and somehow manages to worm his way over despite the best efforts of the York defence. It's been really promising for me today, Tagg. He's been involved a lot in defence, and there's been some real communication coming forward with the ball. Him and Luke Cooper appear to have worked on some of their handling skills, and we've seen that in the front row more and more in the modern day game, that they're players who look around them and they're able to make use of people in support. It's not just the first ball drives now. They can send it wider and really make sure that defenders are to do one-on-one tackles. Brad Tagg definitely maturing more into that role now, that communication and a bit of leadership.
Yeah, he looks like he's put a bit of weight on as well in the close season. So he really is a formidable player for Featherstone Rovers. As Kyle Briggs lines up this conversion attempt. This time Briggs is successful. That goes straight between the middle. And I say straight, you don't get much straighter at dissecting those two posts than that kick from Kyle Briggs, which now makes it, with 27 minutes of the game left, Featherstone Rovers 32, York City Knights 0.
Yeah, it's an impressive scoreline there, isn't it? From Featherstone Rovers, as Harry Carter just leaves the field for York as the hooker, Pat Smith, too many Smiths as well in the York team. Pat Smith comes onto the field. Also got Ed Smith in the second row.
Just to confirm, 36-0 it is in favour of Featherstone Rovers as James Kitchen brings this ball back. That's good defence though, led by Tim Spears for the City Knights. Kitchen push back and will play the ball in his own 15-metre area. John Davis is back on the field, taking that drive, getting Rovers out of the 20. Briggs to Kyron Johnson, and now Michael Knowles. Knowles looking for the offload, but he's wrapped up. He'll play the ball 30 metres out from his own line as Sam Day goes down the middle of the park and then finds Knowles again. Offload from Knowles, but it's not taken in by Featherstone Rovers, and York City Knights get the ball away, and they're going to go in the corner here for a try of the City Knights in the shape of James Haynes. It came from a Featherstone Rovers mistake. Knowles really trying to put that fast ball out to the left centre. It was just a little bit behind Luke Briscoe, who couldn't take it in. The ball went to ground, and it was the York City Knights who reacted quickest, Joe. It
was, yeah. It was good play by Featherstone, actually, up until that loose pass. It was looking to keep the ball alive. Michael Knowles got the ball out. Unfortunately, Luke Briscoe a little bit in front of that pass. It went to ground, and the York player picked it up, got it out to James Haynes, who gratefully scampered 30 metres to score that try out on that right-hand side. So the kicks to come, and York have got on the scoreboard at last.
They certainly have, and they'll be taking a kick at goal from right on that far touchline side. Good chasing back though, wasn't it, from Featherstone Rovers? They were determined that if York were going to score that try, was it Kyron Johnson who was chasing back, that it was going to be right in the very corner, which are those are little things you like to see from a team, aren't they? You know, really making everything as difficult as possible for the opposition. And right on cue, that's why the kick just dropped a little bit short, and those are the differences. So it's now, with 25 minutes of the game to go, it's Featherstone Rovers 36, York City Knights 4.
Yeah, and as you say, Martin, it is about that little bit of extra effort that players put in. Even though that try was going to be scored, there was no doubt about it. The fact that they did chase back and make that conversion attempt more difficult, it just keeps that scoreline down a little bit more, doesn't it? And Featherstone now looking for a ball to kick off with. We've not got a ball. Oh, we have got a ball under Kyle Briggs. I'm not sure what the hold-up is then. No
kicking tee.
No kicking tee.
But
there was
Billy.
Some kind of implement missing there to help Kyle Briggs kick off. But Billy's on the field like quick sticks there with the kicking tee. So
look at him smile. Always smiling.
He's great. He's Billy Mallinson, isn't he? We all love Billy.
Right, Briggs restarts. Not said that too often today. And York bring the ball back, but waiting in defence for Featherstone Rovers was Luke Cooper, who was first to the tackle, and then the troops get there and push the York player just a few more metres backwards. Brad Tagg this time first to the tackle, but the referee is saying that Featherstone Rovers were offside, so that's a penalty to the York City Knights, and a chance for them to move upfield and build something on the back of that try that they just scored through James Haynes.
Oh, has he got somebody?
No, it was Matty Dale who took it like
what a pro
for Featherstone Rovers.
Matty Dale, what a pro there. You see, this is what you're on about, this cameo appearance. He's getting warmed up for it, isn't he?
Oh, that's right, yes. Oh, good work from the wingman for the City Knights, Nev Morrison. It was with good play there, bringing the ball back inside. Good footwork as well. And now offload from Tim Spears. And York have moved it to the right-hand side. And it's the scorer of that last try, James Haynes, again, who is within 10 metres of the Rovers line. But this time he just can't keep hold of the ball. Good defence over there from Luke Briscoe has forced the ball free, and well, no, it's actually a penalty. Referee has given offside, or ball ripped out by Featherstone Rovers, so York will have a chance to build again.
Yeah, not sure there. I think the York player was looking to offload, but there were 2 men in the tackle with Luke Briscoe and another Featherstone player, and maybe it's been deemed that they've ripped the ball out. So York are in a dangerous place here, 5 metres away from the Featherstone line.
So a chance for Featherstone Rovers to test their defence, and it's Richie Moore and James Kitchen in at the tackle there, and as York try and ship the ball right, offload by Sowerby to his captain Ed Smith. Rovers get there in numbers and put him on his back. Michael Knowles heavily involved in the tackle for Featherstone Rovers. To the left hand side it comes now. Little kick through from Tyson Williams. It's just a little bit too strong is the kick, so Duckworth takes it from the dead ball area, and he's looking to get a quick tap here. Is Duckworth. He does get the tap, but the City Knights have got back and got a defensive line well set, but Duckworth still makes his 10-12 metres for Featherstone Rovers, and he'll play the ball just outside the 30.
Yeah, it was good play by York on the last there to put that kick through, but it is a very short in goal at Featherstone, and obviously not used to it, and the kick was too strong and went dead, so Featherstone coming away with the ball now, already made it up to the halfway line.
Brad Tagg plays the ball. Now it's with John Davis as Andy Bostock goes back on the field. James Kitchen comes off it, and I think John Sharp will be pleased with what he's seen there from his trial. He's put himself about well as Kitchen, but a bit of a mix-up in the Rovers defence there, and it's resulted in a knock-on being called against Featherstone Rovers. It was an offload from Cooper to Michael Knowles that just got mixed up, and so we'll start just inside the York 40 with the York City Knights head and feet at this scrum. And
just talk about James Kitchen there, that stint that he's just had in this second half on the field, he's done some really hard running, and I think he will have impressed John Sharp with the way that he's applied himself. He got himself involved right from the very start of coming onto the field, and he hasn't taken a step backwards all the time that he's been on. So yeah, these trialists certainly putting the names in the frame, aren't they?
Yeah, it just shows what good stuff is happening in Featherstone generally with rugby, because of course those guys from the Featherstone Lions Club, and of course it's Jamie Rooney who's the coach down there, isn't he? And he's really turned that club around in the last few years. So it's good to see some cooperation between the professional and the amateur clubs, and some of the guys getting a chance to stake their claim for a professional rugby league contract.
And it's why it's so important to have that good relationship with your local grassroots clubs, your community clubs, isn't it? To have that pathway almost for players that can make the grade.
Well, the ball comes free there as the York City Knights were looking to offload, so it's a knock-on against the City Knights. So good defence from Featherstone Rovers, who will get the ball back just inside their own half of the field as the clock kicks down into the last quarter of this game. It's Featherstone Rovers 36, York City Knights 4. The Ian Hardman testimonial game. Ian will be receiving all the profits and proceeds from today's game, and it's just so sad actually that he's not currently on the field, because he did leave the field with a knee injury, and as much as it is Ian's testimonial game, you know, he's a big player for Featherstone Rovers, and John Sharp won't want to take any risks with him, with the season just 3 weeks away.
That's right. You want to safeguard your players, you know, no matter what kind of game it is that they are playing in. After all, it is a pre-season friendly, and you do want to safeguard them against any worsening of their injuries. And he did come off, and he was on the exercise bike, was Ian, so he's able to still move the leg, so hopefully it's just a precaution.
Well, Brad Tagg gets a penalty for Featherstone Rovers. He didn't like something that happened in the tackle, and he spoke out to the opposition player, and that must have drawn the referee's attention to it, because then he blew up for the penalty, and that's why Rovers are in good field position here with Luke Cooper. Joseph, an aspiring referee, is laughing at my comments up here. I've been on the wind-up a little bit this afternoon, but here is Michael Knowles on the wind-up with the York defence, because he's up and over the York City Knights line, but he'll be brought back 10 metres and asked to play the ball because he was unable to get it to ground. And the ball comes now to Bostock. Bostock finds his front. He's 8 metres away from the York City Knights line. John Davis at first receiver. Good ball to Wildy, who shows the ball and then goes himself. He's just a metre short as he's put down. Sam Dayson at dummy half. Watch for him going here himself. He does go himself. He can't get the ball down. He can't get the ball away either. So it's 5th and last. But I knew what he was going to do, and so did the York City Knights defence. But it didn't stop him having a go. Sam Day scores so many tries like that. It's the last tackle. So Briggs puts boot to ball. It's a little bit too deep. It goes dead on the full. But a good set there from Featherstone Rovers, but not quite the kick that Briggs would have been looking for at the end of it.
It wasn't. It was a decent idea to put that ball high up into the air. We've not had too many high kicks, have we, on the last this game, and it went up high into the air, just a little bit too deep for the chasing Featherstone Rovers players, and the York player let it go dead. So York have come away with this 20-metre restart, and a little bit of a spear tackle there by Josh Hardcastle, and Foggin Johnston wasn't very keen on that style of tackle by Josh Hardcastle. He just tipped him up in the air a little bit, so whether the referee will put this on report and we might see some action being taken as a result of it.
Yeah, he's certainly not going to get away with that one, isn't Josh Hardcastle? That's a penalty to the York City Knights, and the referee stops the clock while he consults his touch judge and just decides what he's going to do about this situation. I think Joanne's probably right. I think he'll have a word with Josh Hardcastle, and then he'll put the incident on report, you would feel.
1,196. Thank you for all the
So 1,196 is the attendance. It's great to see so many people turning out for Ian Hardman in this pre-season game. As I said, all the proceeds going to Ian, and what a career he has given us. And well, we speak of it like that as if it's over, and there's a lot more to come yet from Ian Hardman, and he'll be adding to those 324 professional appearances. He'll be adding many to that.
Josh Hardcastle there, just getting called out and given the warning. No further action taken, and York fans not pleased because that's the second challenge that they've not taken a liking to on the trot. But the ball's going to come up for Featherstone here with them knocking the ball forward. It's going to be a scrum 40 metres out from the Rovers line. Hardcastle, though, it was very much a challenge that looked worse than it was. It was completed, and then he grabs the players, charges them up, and the head goes. Therefore, he's lifted above the horizontal, but with the player already on the ground, there's no further action needing to be taken than just a simple penalty and a bit of a warning, bit of a talking to.
So Featherstone Rovers have the ball back via head and feet at this scrum as Darryl Griffin prepares to return to the field for Rovers. Ball comes out of the scrum 35 metres from the Featherstone Rovers line. Here is Hardcastle, who beats the first man with good footwork, and he plays the ball to Scott Turner, another man with good footwork, but it's his upper body strength that moves him forwards this time and into the York City Knights 40. It's James Duckworth leaving the field as well, and Ian Hardman, he's back on the field, so he sends Kyron Johnson out to the right wing and Hardman back at fullback. So nice to see Hardman back out on the field in his testimonial game, and Kyle Briggs takes a tackle there just inside the York City Knights 20. That's a good scoop from dummy half by Sam Day, who's to within 6 metres of the York City Knights line. It's 5th and last tackle as the referee puts his hand in the air to indicate so, and the ball's with Matty Wildy, who's, well, if that in NFL parlance, we'd say he was sacked there, because on the last tackle he was caught with ball in hand, and that gives York the chance to turn the ball over. But Joseph, it was all wrong that really for the last play, wasn't it? Because to start with, the man in at dummy half was a prop forward, and you don't really want that on the last play.
No, there you have it. It's a burn of mine. Being a former hooker at junior level, when a hooker runs it and then you're left on the last play with someone having to come in, you've got a prop there. It's not the supply of ball that the halfback wants, and therefore they've got less time. They put more under pressure on the kick. They're having to fumble around with it. You want the ideal scenario. You want them to have as much time as they can, and they're able to get things set then.
So York bringing it out of their own 30. We've got 13 minutes and 40 seconds of the game left. A game which Featherstone Rovers lead by 36 points to 4. And York bring it up to the Featherstone Rovers 40 now. Tackle by Darryl Griffin. and Andy Bostock. Oh, it's good kick pressure from Brad Tagg, and that's why the kick is short. But Hardcastle, he doesn't take the ball in, but that's good work from Kyron Johnson, who cleans up for his teammate. But all about the kick pressure from Brad Tagg, who really does do a lot right.
Fantastic work from Tagg, and then Hardcastle unable to take the kick, but no sooner has he done that, he makes amends for it, ploughing forward with the ball there. And I don't think I've ever seen Hardcastle be taken down by the first man. Unbelievable for a man with such a slight frame.
Our Rovers work it left. That's good play, but it's a loose ball from Kyle Briggs. It's cleaned up though by Luke Briscoe. Slips away from one defender and then bursts through another one, and he finishes on his front. Quick play, the ball 30 metres out, and then Sam Day takes off from dummy half. And Sam Day is only halted by a latch-stitch tackle by Ronan Dixon. But Rovers will play the ball 8 metres out and work it to the left through Kyle Briggs. Hardman on the inside. Wow, Sowerby, what you doing, man? It's Hardman's testimonial. He read it and intercepted the ball, and that's why York City Knights are moving up the field. But Rovers have got it back now with some loose handling. And that's a good offload. And wow, this is exhibition stuff. Where's Hardman to get on the end of this? Oh, he's there, but Scott Turner doesn't see him, and Scott Turner puts the ball down behind the post for, well, I wouldn't say it was a classic try, but it was a nice try on the eye in this pre-season friendly game, and it extends Featherstone Rovers' lead to 40 points to 4.
Well, it was an unbelievable try for the spectators to witness. No sooner are Rovers on the attack with a last tackle play. It looks like York are going to be in with the break. Featherstone win the ball back, though. You fancy that would have been the end of it, because Andy Bostock picking it up. You didn't expect him to make a breakdown field. He ships it on, though, and Featherstone find a way through. It's the men with pace who manage it. It's Kyron Johnson. It's Scott Turner. And if only Ian Hardman had come away with that ball, it would have been the fairy tale moment if he'd been the man to finish it off. Unfortunately, that's not the way these things work out sometime, and it's Scott Turner who takes the champagne moment, really.
So Briggs is lining the kick up, but the referee has stopped the clock because a York player is receiving treatment behind the post. This is just ridiculous, man. He's on his feet and he's stood right in the middle of the post. Why don't the physio just move him 5 metres either way and let's get on with the game?
Fully agree, Martin. It's crazy. There we go.
Sense.
Yeah.
There we go, he's kicked it. Oh, and the player's all right, look. See, he can jog back now to the halfway line, but he can't step 5 metres to the side to let us get on with the game. It'll be like football with stoppages if we carry on like this. So 42 points to 4 in favour of Featherstone Rovers. 10 minutes of this game left.
Hardman 2 tries in the last 10 minutes, do you think?
Yeah, converted tries, I'd say.
Yes.
Converted by himself, of course. Here comes Andy Bostock. The man will be looking to get him in that field position. That was a good tackle, wasn't it, by Mickey Learmoth on Bostock.
Certainly felt it, didn't he?
Felt it as Bostock.
Yeah.
Yeah, one-on-one, and he's a big truck, is Bostock. Whether they clashed heads in the tackle, I'm not sure, but he's on his haunches, is Bostock, and he's just getting some treatment. I think he's going to come off anyway, is Bostock, because Cooper's about to go on. The Rovers coaching staff won't take any precautions.
Physio says he's okay, but it was almost like, you know, when you jar your neck, wasn't it? It was I think it was the impact of the tackle, because he was stopped in his tracks quite forcibly there by the York player.
Yeah, it was a good tackle. And he'll play the ball, and then I think he'll be leaving the field, will Andy Bostock. That's a good drive. Good drive by Darryl Griffin. Finishes on his front as well. Plays the ball 35 metres from his own line. Aaron Lyons now with the ball, and that change is made. Bostock comes off. Luke Cooper goes on. Griffin for the second drive of the set. Good defence from the York City Knights, but Rovers are in the York half of the field. Over to the left it goes now. Ball's with Michael Knowles, who pushes off one man. skips round another man, keeps moving forwards and gets to within 35 metres. It's the 5th and last tackle. This time it's Scott Turner at dummy half on the last, and it's kicked in an unlikely source, but it's a good kick, and Brad Tagg comes up with a ball. It's still 5th and last, but Brad Tagg hacks the ball forwards, and it's just rolled dead, but that was a pretty good kick, that, from John Davis, to be fair.
Yeah, it went high up into the air, didn't it? It had snow on it when it was coming back down, I think, and all the players were standing watching it, and Brad Tagg came up with the ball and put quite a nice little kick through it. It's just a shame that there weren't any chases on the end of it.
Here's your man, Foggin Johnston, for the City Knights. Brought down just shy of the 40-metre mark. Good defence from Rovers. Aaron Lyons, another man on trial, who's had a good game. Good game today, Aaron Lyons. And York bring it down the short side. It's Joe Porter for the City Knights, who's tackled on the halfway line. That's where he'll play the ball to Pat Smith. And York ship it nicely now to the right-hand side of the field. Hint of a forward pass, and that's confirmed by the officials. So Rovers had shifted across quite nicely, although York had moved the ball well out to that right-hand side, but the execution just let them down as the pass went forward. And Featherstone Rovers will have head and feet at the scrum, 43 metres from their own line.
And York are certainly moving that ball around a lot better than at the start of this game, aren't they? They seem to have grown in confidence and developed as the game's gone on. And perhaps, they're looking in Championship 1. There's realistically perhaps only one other promotion place when you take Toronto Wolfpack out of the equation, because everybody's expecting them to be promoted. Maybe it's a bit too presumptuous, that, I don't know, but the signings that they've made certainly are top class, and so there's only one other promotion place, so it is going to be hotly contested in Championship 1, isn't it, this season?
It is. You've got the 3 Cumbrian clubs as well, haven't you, who you'd think would put up a strong case. You got
Hunslet as well, that were down here last week.
Hunslet and Keighley, and it's a competitive league.
Yeah,
it's league. 2 leagues within one, really, isn't it? You've got the expansion teams, and then, shall we say, the more traditional teams plus Toronto.
Yes.
Oh, we're really...
That's a very wide expansion team.
Oh, we're really Brighouse.
Yeah.
Are they not? Okay, so we're underway again. We must stop chatting and start concentrating on this game. At Featherstone Rovers is caught in possession on the last tackle, so they've had to hand the ball over there. Sam Day caught in possession, and so York get the ball back, but that's good defence from Featherstone Rovers.
Yeah, it wasn't the best of play by Sam there on that last tackle. He took it, he sort of showed a couple of dummies from the dummy half and tried to go himself and lost his footing, so it didn't really come off for him there. So a disappointing end to that set of 6, and York have come away with the ball.
Yeah, so York are playing it now on their own 30-metre line. There's 5 minutes of the game left. 42 points to 4 in favour of Featherstone Rovers. Big hit, but well ridden by the York City Knights player, and they're moving it forward, and they've shown some good levels of fitness of York, because they're keeping going right to the end there. We're into the last 5 minutes, and here they are moving the ball into the Rovers half of the field with Tim Spears, who offloads the ball, and it's the referee just saying tackle was complete. Let's come back and play it. And Hardman safely takes the kick at the back. Kick came in from Josh Kittrick, and Ian Hardman took it well for Featherstone Rovers, who now return it with Scott Turner. Sam Day is in at dummy half, and goes to the right-hand side, and Josh Hardcastle running at first receiver. He can play in the back row as well, can Hardcastle, and certainly driving that ball forward well. And as Joseph said earlier, really does run the ball more than his frame would, stronger than his frame would suggest. And here's a guy with a big frame and a big run. That's Daryl Griffin for Featherstone Rovers, who's moved his team into the York City Knights 30-metre area. Wildy now chips the ball over. Tagg chases it along with Kyron Johnson, and the York City Knights wingman, that man Foggin Johnston, he's captured in the in-goal area, and he took the ball quite well, because it was quite a dangerous situation for him, that, as the ball was running away from him, and the Rovers defenders were approaching, and so were the hoardings. But Man of the match, Joanne, is Ian Hardman. Well, he's had a special game. It is a special day for Ian Hardman, and of course he is the man of the moment and the man of the match.
I don't think that could have been given to anybody else on that field, could it?
Absolutely not. Third man into the ribs there, but Hardcastle just withstands it and says no problem. And here's Luke Cooper driving the ball forwards towards the 10-metre line of the York City Knights. We're into the last 3 minutes of the game. 42-4 in favour of Featherstone Rovers, but looking to add more here as Aaron Lyons tries to shake off a couple of defenders. He plays the ball just 2 metres short. Sam Day can't get to it because of the defender. Play goes on and Rovers ship it to the left. Ian Hardman, he fancied a try himself. He sold the dummy, but to the credit of Danny Sowerby, he didn't take the dummy. Luke Briscoe can't keep hold of that ball though, so Featherstone won't get over the whitewash on this set, and they come up with the knock-on, but they lead by 42 points to 4.
Yeah, just a couple of minutes left in this game, isn't there? And that ball came out there. Ian Hardman fancying himself, did a bit of a show, and then just straightened up, tried to go for the line himself, and York were there with 2 tacklers in. And then the next bit of play came out to Luke Briscoe. He wasn't able to take the ball cleanly, so we've got a York City Knights scrum on the 10-metre line.
And they come up with it, play the ball 15 metres out. Spears with a ball across the field. It's turned back on the inside by Nev Morrison, the wingman, who's still looking to offload the ball, but Brad Tagg sees that he can't do that. And then a scoop from dummy half by Pat Smith. Gets the ball to Siddons, who's felled by Michael Knowles. Short ball. And Rovers bring the York attacker down. 40 metres from the York City Knights line. To the right-hand side, the ball goes. York still in their own half of the field as the 5th tackle is called, and Sowerby gets the kick away. Good kick pressure again, this time by John Davis. That has been a feature today, and it allows Ian Hardman to take it comfortably from the back. Gives the ball to Kyron Johnson. Johnson finishes on his front, gets quick play of the ball on the Rovers 40, and that go forward is continued by Scott Turner, who gets the ball away back to Kyron Johnson, who's had a pretty good game, hasn't he, Kyron Johnson, since he's come on the field. He's been safe at the back. He's now operating on the wing and or in the right centre. No, he is on the wing, and he's done pretty well as Darryl Griffin stands up in the tackle, looks for the offload, but he is wrapped up. We've got 1 minute of this game left. Ian Hardman's testimonial game at the Big Fellas Stadium. Here's Matty Wilde, the inside ball to Ian Hardman. Ian Hardman runs the angle, outpaces the fullback for the York City Knights. Outfitting for Ian Hardman. He scores what will probably be the final try of the game, the final try of the second, to add to the final try of the first half. And that was a typical Ian Hardman move on the inside of the halfback. How many times did we see that with Liam Finn over the years? The inside of the halfback, running the angle and scoring the try.
It was a beautiful angle that he ran there, wasn't he? Showed a turn of pace, came onto the ball like a charging bull almost, and ran from 15 metres out straight towards that line. He knew that he wasn't going to be stopped. He was determined. He wanted to get his name on the team, on the score sheet again, and he's certainly achieved that. So well done, Ian Hardman. Not quite the hat trick, but he's got a brace today, hasn't he?
I told you he'd try and convert his own try. Here he goes. He's not a bad kicker, actually, Ian Hardman.
Did well last week.
Yeah, well, he kicked earlier in his career. He kicked 8 goals for St Helens, and I can't imagine that a St Helens side that, you know, around that era used to include the likes of Jamie Lyon were short of kickers. And here he is, spoiling me as a commentator, but really not spoiling his day, because that is the last action of this game, the Ian Hardman testimonial match. A match in which Hardman has finished the scoring, and he scored 2 tries on the day to add to tries from Walton, Duckworth, a second from Walton and Briscoe. 26 points to 0 it was at half-time after Ian Hardman's first try was converted by Kyle Briggs. And then in the second half, York City Knights put up a spirited performance, but tries by Michael Knowles, Bradley Tagg and before a reply from James Hayne, and then Scott Turner crossed, and right at the end of the game there, Ian Hardman completed the scoring for his on his testimonial game, which Featherstone Rovers have won against the York City Knights by 46 points to 4.
Yeah, and Ian Hardman, we should mention that he has got other things coming up for his testimonial season, lots of events in the pipeline over the next few months, and what I would urge is just to look out for these dates, these events, and support this player who's given so much to Featherstone Rovers over the years, and it's a well-deserved testimonial, isn't it?
So we'll leave you here from the game at the Big Fella Stadium, which Featherstone Rovers have won against the York City Knights by 46 points to 4.